Welcome Year 1 and 2 to Science. So our topic for this week is all about planting and growing, and this is our first lesson today. So let's see what we're going to learn today. So lately the weather seems to have changed, doesn't it? A little while ago it was really cold and we had to wear coats and scarves and gloves to school. Now the weather's changed, the sun's shining a lot and the weather's got a lot warmer. Have a look at this picture. Can you see what's happened to the trees? Pause the video now and have a little think about it. Okay, so let's have a look at the first tree. Well, the first thing I noticed is there's snow on the grass, so it must be in winter. And we can see that there are no leaves on the trees. That's because in winter, a lot of the trees, not all of them, the leaves fall off the trees because it gets really cold. Right, let's have a look at the second picture. Can you spot the difference between the first picture and the second picture? Yes, so the second picture, you can see the grass, there's no snow. So the weather must have got a little bit warmer. But what can you spot that is the same about the tree? Yes, the tree, again, doesn't have any leaves. So the first picture is definitely winter. The second picture, it might still be winter, but the weather's warming up a little bit. So it will be the where winter turns into spring. Now the third picture, this is a nice picture. What do you notice about the tree? Yes, now if you look very closely, the tree has little white bits on it, and that is blossom, and that is where we are now. Lots of the trees I can see have lots of blossom on, and that means that it's spring. Spring has sprung. All the trees and all the plants are starting to grow again. There's lots of beautiful colours and the flowers are starting to come out. If you also look at the grass, you can see a few little yellow spots, which are some flowers coming out in the grass. Now let's look at the last picture. The last picture is a little bit different. The tree looks different. Can you spot the difference? Yes, the tree in the last picture hasn't got the blossom anymore, but it's got lots and lots of lovely green leaves. So this is where, after all the blossom falls off, this is where spring is starting to turn into summer. And what can you spot in the grass? There's lots of dandelions now, isn't there? So the first picture was winter. The second picture is where winter's turning into spring. The third picture is definitely spring. And the last picture, the fourth picture, is where spring is going to turn into summer. So what season are we in now? Let's have a look. So I found some more pictures. The first picture is like we had the last one. On the left-hand side, the first half, it's a winter tree. And on the right-hand side of the picture, the other half, it's a spring tree. And the winter side, you can see snow on the ground and snow in the sky. And also the tree looks white, it's covered in snow. And on the right-hand side, you can see that there is flowers on the tree. You can see the lovely green grass, and you can also see butterflies in the sky. So it shows you the difference between winter and spring. Now the next picture says, goodbye winter, hello spring. Now spring is one of the most wonderful times of the year because all of the baby animals are born, all of the flowers come out, and it's a really nice time. It's a really colourful time. It's time where lots of new things happen. So like I said, new babies, new flowers. Okay, so we're saying goodbye to winter and we're saying hello to colourful spring. So when is spring? Well, we're in spring right now. Let's have a look at the tree first and see the different types of colours they've used and what's on the tree. So you can pause the video here and talk more about the tree, about what you can see on each season. On winter, spring, summer and autumn. Pause the video now. Okay, what did you notice about all the seasons? Now we're going to talk very briefly about it. In winter, the tree is bare, it's got no leaves. In spring, it's got flowers or blossom on the tree. In summer, it's got leaves and some fruit. And what happens in autumn? all the leaves fall off the tree. So we're in spring at the moment, and if you have a look at the colours, you can see which months are a spring. So winter is blue. So if you have a look at the calendar, down the bottom, December is winter, and January and February are winter. Now spring is green, so let's see if you can find and point to the months that are in green. Yes, there are 3 of them. The first one is March. The next one is April, begin with an A. And the last one is May. Now we're in April at the moment, so we are in spring. At the end of May, it is June, and June is yellow. And if you look at the picture of the tree, summer is yellow. So June, July and August are yellow, so that's summer. And then September, October, November are autumn. So at the moment we're in spring. So which months are spring in? March, April and May. And how long is spring? So how many months is spring? 3 months. So let's see what I did yesterday. Yesterday I went for a walk and I noticed lots of lovely different colours. So here's my walk. This is the map of where I went. It's on Google Maps. So the little green triangle, that is where I started. And I went up the road all the way to the top. And I went round, and then there's a square there at the top. I went around the square, and then I went back to where I was before, went down, and then I went back around the second square. And then where the red square is, that's where I finished. That's where my house is. So that is the walk I went on yesterday. And it was a lovely walk. The sun was shining and it was a lovely blue sky. It was a little bit chilly, as it can be in spring, but I saw lots of beautiful flowers and lots of beautiful colours, which is what you do see in spring. Would you like to see it? Okay. So now you've seen the video of the walk I went on. Now we're going to do some art. Okay, so have a look at this picture here. This is something someone's drawn, and they have drawn a picture of some lovely flowers and some butterflies. This is their spring picture. So we're going to do a spring picture now. So you need to make sure you've got a pencil to draw with first, some paper, and either some pencil crayons or felt tips or wax crayons, anything you can find. Or you could even paint your picture, but make sure you draw it with a pencil. Pause the video now, get everything ready, and then we can come back together and we can finish the rest of our art lesson. Hi everyone, so today we're going to learn how to draw a flower. Now the first thing you need lots of different colours. Here's mine. Now I would prefer to do this on a piece of paper, and the first thing you would do would be to use a pencil to draw your flower. Then if you make any mistakes you can rub it out, but today I'm going to use a whiteboard, but I can still rub it out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle. Now when you do this with pencil you can draw it quite lightly, because that bit you won't need, that bit's the bit you're going to rub out. And in the middle of the circle I'm going to draw a smaller circle. Okay, now again I'm using black, but you could use a pencil and then you would colour it in. So after you've drawn the circle you're going to draw the stem, and we're going to make it a bit of a curly stem. Then we're going to give the stem some leaves. So to draw a leaf you do a bit like a semicircle, and then you join it up and then you can go back and do some veins on the leaf. And I'm going to do another one up here. Obviously you would colour it in and make sure they're the right colours. So obviously the stem would be initially in pencil, but you'd colour it in green, and then the leaves would obviously be green. And that's where you could use different colour greens. You could start maybe with some dark green and go to light green. Now we've done the middle of the flower, now we need to draw the petals. So the circle around the edge tells us how far we need to go. So if you start here, and you draw a petal. Okay, so we actually are going to rub this circle out. That's why if you do it in pencil, it'll be easier. And then we're going to leave a little gap. And do another petal. When you draw a petal, it starts off, and then you do a curly bit, and then you go back. So the top bit is much thicker, it's much wider than the bottom bit is much thinner. Do another one. Now, not all petals are the same size or shape, and that's fine. You can make them different sizes and different shapes. Do another one up here. See, it's okay if you went over the circle a little bit. It's just a guide to give you. And the last one. So now I finished my flower, I need to rub the circle out. Now this will be much easier to do it once you've coloured it in with, if you colour it all in with pencil crayons or felt tips, it'll be much easier to rub the pencil line out. For me it's much harder because I don't want to rub the whiteboard pad, the petals out. Oh, this was going to be hard. There we go, so nearly finished. Like I said, if you use pencils, and make sure the last thing you do is rub out, okay? Because if you rub it out too early, then you won't have your lines. Also, when you rub out, if you hold the paper with an open hand really tight, it will stop the paper from screwing up. So there we go. That's a very simple flower. If I coloured it in, I might colour the petals in pink. Obviously, I'm doing this really, really quickly, and there's lots of white marks. But when you colour and see if you can get it all the way to the edges, so you don't leave any white gaps. Okay, and I might colour them a little bit in yellow. Okay, now the idea is when you're drawing a flower is not to colour in any colour, it's to make sure you colour it in a colour that you've actually seen. So yesterday I went on a walk and I saw purple flower, so I'd make sure I colour the flower in purple. Okay, now time for you to have a go. If you go to the next slide, we'll show you another way to how to draw a flower, and then I would like to see some of your lovely drawings of flowers. Well done for today. So on the last video you saw me drawing a flower. Now here's another way to draw a flower. So there's 6 different stages. So stage 1 is drawing the middle bit of the flower. Make sure you add some different things, and they've got little wavy lines, and it feels like the flower's 3D, so it feels like it's a real flower. Then on number 2 they've drawn some little petals on around the middle. Number 3 they've drawn some bigger petals. Now can you see these ones are different from the petals I've drawn because they've got a point at the end. So they start off narrow, they go outwards, and then they've got a point on the end. Number 4, they've drawn some lines on the petals, and it makes it feel like it's round. It doesn't look flat anymore. Number 5, they've added some petals in the back. So it doesn't just have 6 petals, it has some more in the back. And number 6, they've coloured it in and made it look really beautiful. Now, the best thing about this one, I think, is they've done something called shading, which is quite tricky, but if you use pencil crayons, it's quite easy to do. You'll get the hang of it. So when you start off shading, you start with the darkest colour. So if you start on the tip of the petal, you can start off red, and you colour and you press quite hard. And then when you go into the middle, you press lighter with your red pen. Then, once you've done that, you're going to start on the other edge. You're going to start with yellow, and you press quite hard with the yellow. and then you're going to work your way into the middle and press lighter. And hopefully the two colours will mix together and will give you that nice blended look. So you can choose either the simple way to draw a flower, like I've shown you, or the little bit more tricky, or you can equally just draw your own flower. That's okay. So guys, now it's your turn to do your art. So this is a picture someone's drawn, and it looks like they have used, I would say, maybe oil pastels in this picture. It's a lovely picture. It's got lots of lovely colours. It's got blues, yellows, purples and oranges. I like the way they've done some shading on the petals, and they've got a butterfly in there, and they've got a tree branch with some birds on it. I also really love the background. Can you see at the bottom of the picture it's green for where the grass is, and when you go higher up it's yellow. That could be maybe a sunrise or a sunset, and at the top it's the lovely blue sky. So what you've got to do is you've got to draw the flowers that you can see, maybe in your garden or maybe if you went on a walk, okay? But make sure you use the exact colours of the flowers, okay? Then you're trying to draw a real flower. And I can't wait to see your lovely colourful flowers. Bye for today.